Commander James Stone stood at his office window in the Earth Defense Command headquarters, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. In his hand, he held a glowing blue tablet that would change everything. The alien text on its surface shifted and transformed into English as he read it again. Asterisk, by order of the Grand Galactic Council, Commander James Stone of Earth is hereby summoned to appear before the High Court to answer for crimes against galactic law and civilized space. Asterisk. He placed the tablet on his desk and walked to the small bar in the corner of his office. His hands didn't shake as he poured himself a drink. They hadn't shaken in years, not since the first alien ships appeared in Earth's orbit a decade ago. The door chimed, and his second-in-command, Major Robert Wilson, entered. "The Council transport will arrive in 6 hours, sir." The Major's face showed the strain they all felt. "Are you sure about this?" "We could refuse. Our orbital defenses are stronger than ever." Stone took a sip of his drink and smiled. "And start an interstellar war?" "No, Bob. I'll go. Someone has to answer for what we did, and I'd rather it be me than Earth as a whole." "But, sir, everything we did was necessary. Those aliens, they didn't give us a choice." Wilson's face reddened with anger. "The Council did nothing when the water raiders came. Nothing when the slave ships tried to grab our people. Nothing when—" "I know, Bob." Stone's voice was calm, a sharp contrast to Wilson's emotion. "I was there for all of it. I made the calls. I gave the orders." He walked to his desk and picked up a small data crystal. "That's why I'm going. Someone needs to tell them the truth." Stone turned to his computer and began recording what might be his final message to Earth's defense forces. The words came easily. He'd been preparing for this day, since he first broke galactic law to protect his planet. "To all Earth defense personnel, by the time you receive this message, I will be on my way to the Galactic Council. They have charged me with various crimes against their laws. They're not wrong. I did everything they accused me of, and more." He paused, choosing his next words carefully. 10 years ago, humanity learned we weren't alone in the universe. We also learned that the galaxy isn't the peaceful, advanced civilization we hoped for. When the raiders came for our oceans, when the slavers tried to steal our people, when the mining fleets threatened to crack our moon, the Council offered words, not help. Stone stood and walked back to the window, continuing his recording. "So we did what humans have always done. We adapted. We took their technology and made it better. We broke their rules because those rules were chains meant to keep young species weak and dependent. Every law I broke, every forbidden weapon I authorized, every banned technology we developed, it was all to ensure humanity's survival." Looking out at the defensive platforms orbiting Earth, platforms that technically violated a dozen Council treaties, Stone felt a surge of pride. "I go to face their justice willingly, but not out of guilt. Someone needs to tell them the truth about their precious laws and regulations. Someone needs to make them understand that humanity will not be passive in the face of extinction. Whatever happens to me, remember your duty. Protect Earth, protect humanity, and never apologize for surviving." The recording complete, Stone handed the crystal to Wilson. "Release this after I'm gone. And Bob, if I don't come back, the contingency plans are in File 0. You know what to do." Wilson took the crystal, his hand tight around it. "It was an honor, sir." As his second-in-command left, Stone returned to watching the sunset. In 6 hours, he would board an alien ship and travel to face judgment from species that had been crossing the stars when humans were still figuring out bronze tools. They would demand answers for his crimes, and he would give them, just not the answers they expected. The sun finally dipped below the horizon, leaving Earth's newest orbital defense satellites silhouetted against the darkening sky. Stone smiled. Let them call him a criminal. Sometimes, humanity's survival was worth more than following the rules. The Council chamber was built to make visitors feel small. Commander Stone understood this as he walked through its towering crystal doors. The ceiling stretched up into darkness, and the walls glowed with a soft blue light that made everything feel distant and cold. 200 different alien species sat in rising circles around the central platform. Some looked almost human. Others were as different from humanity as stone was from water. Stone saw tentacles, crystalline bodies, floating gas clouds in containment suits, and things he couldn't even describe. The air was filled with a low hum from universal translators, working to handle the dozens of languages being whispered around the chamber. "Commander James Stone of Earth," a voice boomed through the chamber. "Step forward." Stone walked to the center of the platform. 5 beings sat at a raised desk before him, the high judges of the council. On the left was a tall, silver-skinned being with 4 arms. Next to it sat something that looked like a living shadow. In the center was what appeared to be an old tree with glowing fruits for eyes. The 4th judge was a creature made of shifting metal, and the last was a small, ancient-looking being that could have passed for a human child, except for its completely black eyes. The tree being spoke, its fruits glowing brighter. "You stand accused of 37 violations of council law. The charges include use of forbidden quantum weapons, deployment of autonomous combat systems, development of banned defensive technologies, and interference with council-authorized resource collection." Stone stood straight, his hands clasped behind his back. "I understand the charges. You have refused legal representation," the silver-skinned judge said. "This is unwise. The penalties for your crimes include exile to a prison world." "I don't need a lawyer to tell the truth," Stone replied. His voice carried clearly through the chamber. "I did everything you accuse me of. But before you judge me, you should hear why." A murmur ran through the watching aliens. The shadow judge leaned forward. "You admit to your crimes so easily." "I admit to protecting my people," Stone said. "I admit to defending Earth when this council would not. I admit to choosing survival over obedience." The metal judge's surface rippled with patterns of light. "You were given council laws when Earth joined the galactic community. You knew the consequences of breaking them." Stone smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. "Yes, I knew your laws. Like the law that says Class 3 civilizations can't have quantum shields. The same law that lets Class 1 worlds strip mine their planets, or the law that prohibits AI-guided defense systems while allowing automated harvest ships to drain oceans. The laws exist to maintain order," the childlike judge said. Its voice was ancient and tired. "Without them, chaos would rule the stars." "Order." Stone's voice grew sharp. 3 years ago, a Class 1 civilization tried to drag Earth's moon into a harvesting fleet. Your laws said we could file a complaint. The complaint would take 5 years to process. Our moon would have been gone in 3 months. He turned in a slow circle, looking at the gathered aliens. "Instead, we used banned quantum technology to shield the moon. We deployed forbidden AI systems to protect our orbital space, and when the harvesters tried to crack our planet like an egg, we used weapons you outlawed to drive them away." The chamber erupted in angry shouts and protests. The tree judge's fruits flashed bright red. "Silence," it commanded. The noise died down. "You broke the fundamental laws of civilization," the shadow judge said. "Laws that have kept peace for 10,000 years." Stone nodded. "Yes, I broke your laws. And because I did, Earth still exists. Its oceans aren't fuel in some alien ship. Its people aren't slaves in some distant mine. Its resources aren't scattered across space." He stood taller, his voice growing stronger. "I'm here to answer for my crimes. But I'm also here to make you answer for yours. Why do your laws protect the strong and bind the weak? Why does civilization mean watching younger worlds be stripped bare?" The 5 judges looked at each other. The child judge spoke softly. "You wish to challenge the foundation of galactic law." "No," Stone said. "I'm here to expose it." The chamber grew very quiet. Stone's trial had barely begun, but already the council was learning an important lesson. Humans didn't play by the rules. They'd broke them. and then they made you question why those rules existed in the first place. The metal judge's surface rippled with patterns that suggested anger. You wish to tell us of your first crime, Commander Stone. Very well. Tell us about the quantum weapons you used against the Harvester fleet. Stone closed his eyes for a moment, remembering that day. When he opened them, his gaze was steady. It was a Tuesday, he began. Earth had been part of the galactic community for just 8 months. We were still celebrating, still filled with wonder at not being alone in the universe. Then the Harvester fleet arrived. He pressed a small button on his wrist device, and a hologram appeared above the chamber floor. It showed Earth, beautiful and blue, with massive ships appearing near the moon. 57 ships, each one bigger than our largest city, Stone continued. They didn't respond to our greetings. They didn't acknowledge our transmissions. They simply began their work. The hologram showed massive tubes extending from the ships, descending into Earth's oceans. They started draining our oceans for fuel. Their ships could process water into high-grade plasma fuel. Very efficient, very profitable. Stone's voice grew cold. Also very illegal under your own laws, since Earth was a protected world. We sent emergency signals to the Council. The child judge shifted uncomfortably. The Council received your distress call. The matter was under review. Under review. Stone's laugh was harsh. They took 12% of the Pacific Ocean in the first day. Australia's coastal cities were facing tsunami warnings. Sea levels were dropping worldwide. How long should we have waited for your review? He changed the hologram. Now it showed Earth's few defensive ships, tiny compared to the Harvesters. We tried fighting them conventionally. Our weapons couldn't even scratch their shields. We lost 23 pilots in the first hour. Stone's voice grew quiet. Good men and women, dying to protect their world while the Council was reviewing our case. The shadow judge leaned forward. And then you used the forbidden weapons. Yes. Stone didn't hesitate. We had found quantum technology in old ruins on Mars. Your laws said we couldn't develop it. But we did, in secret, knowing we might need it. And we were right. The hologram changed again, showing small dark vessels emerging from Earth's atmosphere. Quantum torpedoes. Stone explained. They didn't need to overpower the Harvester's shields. They simply shifted the shields into another quantum state, making them useless. Our conventional weapons did the rest. Gasps and angry mutters filled the chamber. Quantum weapons were forbidden because they ignored most defensive technologies. They made the strongest shields useless. You destroyed 17 Harvester ships. The tree judge said, its fruit eyes glowing red. The loss of life was regrettable. Stone cut in. But every ship we destroyed was breaking your own laws. They were stealing our oceans, endangering our cities, killing our people. Where was your concern for loss of life then? He expanded the hologram, showing the remaining Harvester ships fleeing. The surviving ships spread the word. Earth was too dangerous to harvest, too willing to fight back, too willing to break the rules. Stone smiled grimly. We violated your laws about quantum weapons, yes, but those violations saved our world. The metal judge spoke, its surface now dark. You could have waited. The Council would have. Would have what? Stone demanded. Given us permission to defend ourselves. Sent help that would arrive months too late. Filed a complaint that would take years to process. He shook his head. Earth would have been a dead world long before your bureaucracy finished its paperwork. The child judge raised a small hand. You speak of necessity, Commander Stone. But if every young race ignored our laws when convenient, when necessary for survival, Stone corrected, not when convenient. We broke your laws because the alternative was watching our world die. And I would make the same choice again. The hologram faded, leaving the chamber in silence. The 5 judges conferred quietly among themselves, while the gathered aliens whispered and argued. Stone stood quietly, waiting. This was only his first crime, and he had many more to confess. But with each confession, He would force them to face an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes breaking the law was the only way to achieve justice. The tree judge's eyes dimmed slightly. "We will hear of your next crime, Commander Stone. But remember, each admission only adds to your sentence." Stone nodded. "Of course. Shall I tell you about the AI defense systems next? That's quite an interesting story, too. Let us review the evidence of your other crimes," the shadow judge announced, waving a dark tendril. Multiple holograms appeared around Stone, each showing different Earth defense systems that violated Council law. "Your AI defense platforms," the metal judge began, highlighting one of the images. 3,000 autonomous stations in Earth orbit, each one capable of independent thought and action, each one a direct violation of the AI Containment Act. Stone watched as the hologram showed one of Earth's defense platforms tracking and destroying an incoming hostile ship. The station had reacted faster than any human could, making decisions in microseconds. "Yes, those are mine too," Stone admitted. "Would you like to know why we built them? Or would you prefer to hear about the slave ships that kept testing our defenses?" The child judge frowned. "Slave trading is forbidden by Council law, just like stealing oceans is forbidden," Stone asked quietly. "These slavers knew Earth's patrol schedules. They knew exactly when our ships would be on the other side of the planet. Somehow, they always had perfect intelligence about our movements." He turned to face the gathered aliens, almost like someone in the Council was selling information about Earth's defenses. The chamber erupted in angry shouts. The tree judge's fruit eyes flashed rapidly. "That is a serious accusation, Commander." "It's not an accusation. It's a fact." Stone activated his own hologram projector. "This is from 3 years ago. A slave ship captain's logs, recovered from his wreckage. He had detailed patrol schedules, defense codes, even the response times of our ships, information that only the Council should have had." The metal judge's surface darkened. "This evidence was not submitted." "Because I'm submitting it now," Stone interrupted, "along with proof of 7 other incidents where Council-only information was used against Earth. That's why we created the AI platforms. Machines couldn't be bribed. They couldn't be corrupted. They protected Earth without bias or hesitation." The shadow judge moved forward. "And what of the illegal terraforming technology? Explain how that was necessary for Earth's defense." Stone smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. "You mean the technology we used on Mars? The same technology that's restricted to Class 1 civilizations." He changed the hologram to show Mars, its surface now dotted with green patches and small seas. "Mars was dead," he continued, "but it was perfectly positioned for a defensive outpost. So yes, we broke your laws. We used forbidden terraforming tech to create bases, to build shipyards, to give humanity a fallback position. Because unlike some species, we learn from history. One planet is vulnerable. 2 planets give us a chance." "You admit to all of this freely," the child judge noted, its black eyes unblinking. "The quantum weapons, the AI platforms, the terraforming. Do you feel no remorse?" "Remorse?" Stone looked genuinely puzzled. "For protecting Earth, for ensuring humanity's survival? No. What I feel is pride. Pride that when faced with threats from all sides, when abandoned by the very Council that claimed to protect us, humanity found a way to survive." He walked slowly around the platform, looking at each judge in turn. "Every crime you accuse me of was a response to a threat you ignored. Every law we broke was one that would have kept us weak and vulnerable. So no, I don't feel remorse. I feel justified." The metal judge's surface rippled angrily. "Your actions have disrupted the balance of power in your sector. Other young races are beginning to question our laws." "Good," Stone said firmly. "They should question laws that protect the powerful and endanger the weak. They should question rules that leave them defenseless against those who ignore those same rules." The tree judge's eyes dimmed to a dark red. "You are not just admitting to crimes, Commander Stone. You are challenging the very foundation of galactic order. No, Stone replied calmly. I'm exposing how that order has been corrupted. And I'm not finished yet. He turned to face the gathered aliens again. Would you like to hear about the defensive grid we built in neutral space? That's quite an interesting story too, especially the part about who we caught trying to smuggle weapons through it. The five judges looked at each other uneasily. Stone's confessions were becoming more than just admissions of guilt. They were becoming accusations against the council itself. Before I tell you about the defensive grid, Stone said, his hand moving to a pocket inside his uniform, let me show you something interesting. He pulled out a small crystal cube that glowed with a faint purple light. The child judge leaned forward, its black eyes widening. That is a council secure data core. You are not authorized to possess that. True, Stone agreed. Add it to my list of crimes, but let's talk about what's inside it. He placed the cube on the platform, and it projected a complex web of light into the air. This is a record of all ships that passed through Earth's sector in the last 5 years. The Shadow Judge's form rippled with concern. That information is classified. It should be, Stone interrupted, because it shows something fascinating. Computer, highlight all ships that attacked Earth or other developing worlds in our sector. Hundreds of lines in the hologram turned red. Stone continued. Now, show the ownership records of those ships. Names and data appeared next to each red line. Gasps and shouts filled the chamber as the information became clear. Stone's voice cut through the noise. Interesting, isn't it? Ships registered to Class 1 civilizations, attacking worlds they're supposed to protect. Council members profiting from raids they claim to prevent. The tree judge's fruit eyes pulsed rapidly. This session is suspended. No, Stone's voice boomed through the chamber. You wanted my confession. Here it is. We built the defensive grid in neutral space because we discovered this conspiracy. We found proof that council members were working together to exploit developing worlds. He touched the cube again, and new images appeared. Here's a mining fleet stripping resources from a protected world, owned by the third speaker of trade. Here's a slave ship captured near Earth, registered to a shell company belonging to the Security Commissioner's family. The metal judge rose, its surface churning. These accusations are all documented. Stone cut in. Every attack, every raid, every attempt to cripple developing worlds, all of it traced back to council members or their associates. That's why we built the grid, not just to protect Earth, but to protect every world being exploited. The chamber had grown deathly quiet. Stone walked around the platform, his voice clear and strong. We didn't just build defenses. We gathered evidence. Every ship we caught, every raid we stopped, every piece of data we collected. It all pointed to the same conclusion. The Council's laws weren't meant to keep peace. They were meant to keep power in the hands of those who already had it. He pointed to the hologram. That's why quantum weapons are forbidden, because they let younger races fight back effectively. That's why AI defense systems are banned, because they can't be bribed or fooled. That's why terraforming is restricted, because it lets new civilizations expand and grow stronger. The child judge spoke, its ancient voice trembling slightly. If what you say is true. Computer, Stone commanded, shows successful defensive actions by Earth's illegal grid. The hologram changed, showing dozens of incidents where Earth's defensive network had protected other worlds. Small, developing civilizations saved from raiders, colony ships rescued from slavers, resource theft prevented. Every crime I committed, Stone said quietly, saved lives. Every law I broke protected those who couldn't protect themselves. And now, other worlds are following our example. They're building their own defenses, creating their own alliances, sharing technology and resources. The Shadow Judge's form had grown agitated. You admit to spreading forbidden technology to other worlds. Yes, Stone said simply. Because that's the real crime you're afraid of, isn't it? Not that we broke your laws, but that we showed others they could break free too. That they didn't have to stay weak and dependent on your corrupt protection. The 5 judges conferred hurriedly among themselves while the chamber buzzed with confused and angry conversations. Stone stood calmly, watching the chaos he had unleashed. The truth was out now, and no amount of legal proceedings could put it back in the box. The tree judge's eyes had dimmed to almost nothing. This evidence will need to be verified. Of course, Stone agreed. And while you're verifying it, more worlds are learning to defend themselves. Humanity's greatest crime wasn't breaking your laws. It was showing others that they could do the same. The chamber had fallen into uneasy silence after Stone's revelations. The metal judge was the first to speak, its surface now a dull gray. You claim your real crime was success. No, Stone replied, touching his hologram controls again. My real crime was adaptation. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to learn, to change, to grow stronger from every challenge. New images appeared in the air. They showed Earth's defense systems evolving. From simple shields to complex quantum barriers. From basic weapons to eye-guided platforms. When the first raiders came, we were weak. We studied their attacks and improved our defenses. When slavers came, we analyzed their tactics and developed countermeasures. With each attack, we got stronger. With each failure, we learned more. The child judge's black eyes narrowed. And then you shared this knowledge. Yes, Stone smiled. That was the crime you really feared. Not just that Earth learned to defend itself, but that we taught others to do the same. He changed the hologram again. Now it showed dozens of worlds, each implementing variations of Earth's defensive technologies. The Walker worlds developed their own quantum shields after we showed them how. The cloud beings of the Spiral Arm adapted our AI systems to protect their gas mining operations. The crystal colonies used our terraforming techniques to create safe havens for refugee species. The Shadow Judge's form writhed in agitation. You admit to massive technological contamination of developing worlds. Stone's laugh was sharp. Contamination. Is that what you call giving people the means to protect themselves? Tell me, how many raids on developing worlds have succeeded in the past year? The tree judge's fruit eyes flickered. Reports indicate a significant decrease in unauthorized resource extraction and a 90% decrease. Stone cut in. Slave raids down by 85%. Illegal mining operations reduced by 70%. All because worlds that were once easy targets can now fight back. He turned to address the gathered aliens. That's my greatest crime in the Council's eyes. Not breaking the laws, but breaking the system. A system that kept young civilizations weak and dependent. A system that claimed to protect while actually exploiting. The metal judge's surface rippled angrily. You speak of protection, yet you've created an arms race among developing worlds. No, Stone corrected firmly. We created a shield, a network of worlds that help each other, that share knowledge and resources. We turned victims into defenders. He brought up one final hologram, a map of known space, with Earth's sector glowing bright. Look at this region now. Dozens of worlds, once easy prey for raiders and slavers, now strong enough to protect themselves. Trade routes that were once hunting grounds for pirates, now safe for all ships. The child judge leaned forward. And Earth leads this network. Earth guides it, Stone said carefully. We share what we've learned, but each world develops its own path. Some focus on shields, others on detection systems. Some build automated defenses, others create patrol fleets. But all of them grow stronger. The Shadow Judge's voice was cold. You have disrupted the balance of power that has existed for millennia. A balance built on exploitation and corruption. Stone replied. A balance that benefited the powerful at the expense of the weak. Yes, I disrupted that balance. Yes, I broke your laws. Yes, I shared forbidden knowledge. He straightened to his full height. But every law I broke saved lives. Every rule I defied protected the innocent. Every crime I committed helped others stand up for themselves. The chamber erupted in a mix of angry shouts and supportive calls. Some council members were standing, pointing accusingly at Stone. Others were nodding in agreement. The 5 judges conferred among themselves, their discussion heated. Finally, the tree judge's eyes brightened to a deep gold. "Commander Stone," it announced, "you understand that these confessions, these accusations, will have severe consequences." Stone nodded. "Yes, but remember, punishing me won't undo what's been done. The knowledge is out there. The defenses are built. The weak aren't weak anymore." He smiled again, and this time there was triumph in it. "That's my real crime. Not just succeeding, but ensuring that others could succeed too." The 5 judges took their time deliberating while the chamber buzzed with tense conversation. Commander Stone stood calmly at the center of the platform, watching the private arguments and heated discussions taking place around him. Finally, the tree judge's eyes glowed with a bright white light, the traditional signal for silence. The chamber grew quiet. "Commander James Stone of Earth," the child judge began, its ancient voice carrying clearly, "you stand convicted by your own words of multiple violations of council law. The standard punishment for such crimes is exile to a prison world." Stone nodded, his face showing no fear. The metal judge spoke next, its surface now a calm blue. "However, your evidence of corruption within the council cannot be ignored. A full investigation will be launched into the activities you have revealed. The council finds itself in an unprecedented situation." The shadow judge continued. "Your crimes are clear, yet their results have undeniably benefited many worlds. The very laws you broke may have been used to enable the crimes you exposed." The tree judge's eyes shifted to a deep purple. "We have received emergency communications from 27 developing worlds during these proceedings. They claim that removing Earth's protective influence would leave them vulnerable to renewed attacks." Stone allowed himself a small smile. The network was already working, worlds standing together. "Therefore," the child judge announced, "we find ourselves forced to create a new precedent. Commander Stone, you are hereby sentenced to serve as Earth's permanent representative to the Council." Gasps and surprise murmurs filled the chamber. Stone's eyebrows rose slightly. It was the one sentence he hadn't expected. The metal judge explained, "You will help oversee the reform of our defensive regulations. Your experience, though gained through criminal means, will be valuable in creating new laws that protect developing worlds without promoting unrestricted military growth. Your network of worlds will be officially recognized." The shadow judge added, "But it will be monitored to ensure it remains defensive in nature. Any signs of aggression or expansion will result in immediate intervention." The tree judge's eyes turned a calm green. "In effect, Commander Stone, we are sentencing you to help fix the very system you broke, to ensure that the protection you fought to provide becomes available to all developing worlds, legally and safely." Stone looked at each judge in turn. "And Earth's defensive technologies, our innovations, will be studied and adapted into approved forms," the child judge said. "Your crime was not in creating them, but in doing so without oversight or control. That will now change." The shadow judge's form rippled. "You wish to protect the weak, Commander Stone. Now you will do so within the law, not outside it." Stone nodded slowly. It wasn't the punishment he'd expected, but it might be something better. A chance to change the system from within. "I accept the council's verdict," he said clearly. The tree judge's eyes brightened. "Then this session is concluded. Commander Stone, you will begin your new duties immediately. There are already 43 worlds requesting defensive consultations." As the chamber began to empty, Stone activated his communicator. Major Wilson's worried face appeared. "I'm not coming home, Bob," Stone said with a smile. "But I'm not going to prison either. Send me everything we have on defensive systems integration. It seems I have some new jobs to do." "Sir," Wilson looked confused. "They're making me fix the system, Bob. And this time, we're doing it legally." Stone's smile grew wider. Tell Earth's defense forces they did good. We broke the rules, but we broke them so well that they have to change the rules. The metal judge approached as Stone ended the call. You understand, Commander, that you will be watched carefully. Stone nodded. Of course, but you understand that humanity won't stop innovating, won't stop helping others grow stronger. We count on it, the judge replied, its surface showing patterns that might have been amusement. Someone needs to keep the council honest. Who better than the ones who exposed its corruption? As Stone left the chamber, he thought about the irony. He'd come to confess his crimes and faced punishment. Instead, he'd ended up with the authority to make his crimes legal. It was, he decided, a very human outcome, taking a bad situation and turning it into an opportunity. Humanity had done what it did best. It had adapted, survived, and changed the rules of the game. And now, finally, the galaxy would be better for it.